Hello, welcome to the Luke Roper Euros Roundup. I'm Dan Bardell, joined by my good friend Ian Taylor, who I've not actually seen
less of the friend
for a year and a half.
Friend.
No, we're colleagues today then. Colleagues today, not seen you for a year and a half.
I know.
He wasn't
Changed.
He wasn't as excited to see me as I thought he might be when I answered the door, but that's a different story.
Because I didn't give you a hug.
He literally did nothing.
I know. You don't know what to do these days.
No, that is true, especially at your age as well, a dangerous age. You are a granddad now, so it's,
trying to sound vulnerable.
It's difficult. It's difficult to know what to do.
I know.
As you can see, we are in a home because we thought football was finally going to come home. Shout out to Real Renovations for letting us use their space. Tails, so close. It nearly did come home. We didn't quite get over the line. On reflection, I think you can obviously be very pleased with how the tournament's gone. It's been a great success, but when you get that far and you realise how hard it is to get to a final, you just think opportunities like that don't roll around every day, and it's just so devastating to lose.
We as a nation, we do know how hard it is to get to a final.
Exactly.
And I think it was one of those where, because of the draw, the teams we were playing against, I think people expected us to actually win it.
Yeah.
And we probably never get a better chance. I think that was the biggest thing for me. People are talking about the World Cup now, and you forget there's teams like Argentina and whoever else there's going to be in it that you might have to play against. So, and it's a bigger competition, so that will be even tougher to win. But I just thought, for us, it was a fantastic chance to be able to win something, and we just couldn't quite get over the line.
The home advantage as well. If you think of successful tournaments, obviously Euro '96 was a relative success. This was probably the best tournament for England since then. And you think, well, yeah, it was in front of their own fans. That's a massive advantage. I'm not sure whether it quite worked to the advantage in the final, but all the stuff you've just mentioned, it did feel like the stars were going to align and this was finally going to be the time. Why do you think we didn't quite do it in the final?
There could be a number of reasons. Me personally, I've been a big Gareth Southgate fan.
Where you played with him?
Yeah. I think the way he's conducted himself, I think the way he's led the team, and the way he's spoken about what the players wanted to do and what they wanted to do as a squad, I think he's been fantastic. I think the only little niggle I might have about the final is that I think he might have worried about them too much, but I get that because playing an Italy team that have not lost in 30-odd games, and they're a fantastic team, as we saw. And he was probably, being a defender, he worried about his defensive record more than anything else. And I think he maybe thought, if you can keep teams out and keep clean sheets, you've got a better chance of winning things, which I totally get. But then on the flip side, you look at the attacking prowess that we've got in the squad. It just seemed, I think a lot of people looked at that and thought it was a wasted opportunity to just go out there and attack teams. But I understand where he's coming from because, we've had talented teams in the past with great talented players going forward, and we've not won anything. Yeah. So he's looked at it from a different approach and tried something different to what we've done in the past, and it almost worked.
Ultimately, you've got to say that is the right call. People will come back and say, well, if he'd been more attacking, they might have gone on and won the final.
It's easy saying that when you're sat in
hindsight, but it did give England a platform throughout the tournament. To only concede 2 goals through the whole tournament is incredible. And even when he changed personnel, like Tyrone Mings obviously played the first few games, nothing like that ever unsettled England. You played in midfield. Do you think the 2 in front of the back 4 or the back 3, they did give England a platform throughout the whole tournament, didn't they? And having that extra layer of protection, it did allow England to win games, even if we weren't using the amount of attacking players and playing with the kind of gusto that some people wanted us to.
Yeah, I think that extra security in front of the back 4, back 3, I thought was fantastic. I thought they were both brilliant all tournament, to be honest. I thought Rice had his best game in the final. You know what I mean? And then he got took off, and I did think I was thinking, was that the right thing to do? But I don't know. Tiredness might have come into it, but I think the biggest thing for me, a lot of people questioned a lot of what Gareth did, and he was proven right on more than one occasion. So I've got nothing. I can't knock him regarding anything he's done during the competition at all.
No, and obviously a great start in the final. So 2 minutes you're ahead, and you start to think
Too early.
No, I was just starting to think a bit like in the 2018 when Trippier scored that free kick early in the semi-final. I was starting to think, oh my God, this is actually going to happen. Yeah. We're actually going to do this. And then Italy obviously scored a scruffy goal in the second half. They were on top in the second half though, weren't they? There's all these little moments in the final that didn't quite go, even in the penalties. So England have scored their first 2 pens and Italy have missed one of theirs. And again, you start to think, oh my God, we're going to win a penalty shootout in the final, and then we don't score another penalty for the rest of the shootout. Pickford saving Jorginho's penalty. Even that, that's a massive moment.
Even when Jorginho was just walking up to take it,
think he's going to score.
You're just thinking, oh, he's scoring here.
That's a massive moment. And then suddenly you remember after Jorginho's missed, oh shit, we still need to score our pen here, and obviously we don't. But I never really felt like England had any control of anything in that final. After they first 30 minutes maybe aside, I never felt in control of that game at all. And I guess that's something that will be labelled at Southgate, is that he didn't do enough to change that during the game. Yeah.
For me, the final, I think everybody totally underestimated Italy. And even though they went behind after a few minutes, they didn't panic, and they kept playing, and and they just ground us down. And I just wish that we had a little. It's probably inexperience in the final that cost us, I think, because
I was going to ask you about that.
We needed somebody who could just calm things down and do things probably the Italian way, and just waste a bit of time. People going down for
over. I just turned that phone off, didn't I?
What did? Oh yeah.
And you
and just calm things down and just I don't know. We just needed to keep the ball a little bit more, and we tended to panic in certain situations. I think tactically, Kane was still coming deep.
I don't think he touched the ball in the penalty area, in the whole game.
Still coming too deep when really he needed to stretch him and maybe change, because the obvious tactic was for Kane to come deep and to people getting behind him, but that needed to change when we couldn't get hold of the ball. So look, I'm telling you now, Gareth will be devastated, and he'll be thinking about what he could have done differently, like anybody would.
What did you think of the team selection? He went back to 3 at the back, which is, I've got no arguments with it. And to be fair, as you've said, every decision he made through the tournament proved to be correct, really. If I was to have one criticism of that team selection, and I know he loves Mount, and Mason Mount is a fantastic footballer. He plays for Chelsea, he's won the Champions League, he's brilliant. I'm not knocking him at all. But the thing that made that 3-4-3 work in the Germany game was having the 2 pacey wingers at either side of Kane.
And him playing in the 10.
He just when he played 3 at the back, Mount wasn't even there against Germany, was he? He was on the bench. Trying to kind of like shoot. I'm not having a go at Mount, but trying to shoehorn him into that right hand side and have him on the team. I think it made things a little bit unbalanced, and it took away the stuff that made the 3 at the back dangerous in the Germany game, just to try and get him in. Do you think he'd look back and say that was wrong?
I think so. Like I said, I've not got many things to criticise him about, but you definitely had to play one of the pacey guys up that side. And
I suppose could play Sancho or Saka.
Yeah. It'd have worried them a lot more, because if you're a fullback and you see Mount there instead of one of the others, you'd be thinking, that's brilliant.
Emerson would have been pleased with that, because he's not played much football, had he, through that tournament either?
Very pleased. And he knows Mount as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for him, he would have been thinking, oh, that's great. So, it's one of those things where you think, if you'd have just done that.
He should have just gone with a bit more, something that he knew worked in that big game, and to go and try some. I know he kind of threw a wild card in the selection every single game, really, when you think about some of the games, looking back even in the group stage, and randomly Sancho came in for the quarterfinal. So he did kind of do that all the way through the tournament. But for that game, I would say that didn't work at all. And obviously we asked for some questions for this podcast before we came, and it's obviously going to be full of Villa fans because it's me tweeting asking for the for the questions. Everyone was asking you why Jack Grealish didn't play a bigger part in the Euros, why he didn't play a bigger part in the final. We've had a little chat about that off camera before we came on, but what would you say to those people?
If you could play 12, 13 aside, then definitely be in. But I just think that Gareth is a defensive coach. I think we've got to just get that out and say he's a defensive coach, and he probably looks at people defensively more than they are attacking wise. And I'm not saying
that's right.
I'm not saying it's a fault. I'm just saying that he's a pragmatic coach, and the only thing I can think about is Jack defensively, but I don't think Jack's that bad defensively either.
No, I don't. He works hard
when he plays for us. He just, as long as you get into the right positions, it's fine. Jack gets into the right positions, but that's the only thing. I mean, I've seen loads of stuff on Twitter about him not liking Jack and all that. It's a load of rubbish. You know what I mean?
Well, Gareth Southgate, he's not really like that, is he?
Yeah, he's not going to not like him. It's for pure football reasons, and I don't know. I think I don't really want to get into a Mount and Jack conversation because that's already been had, and I think it's quite obvious that Gareth likes Mount's work rate, and he can get into positions where defensively he's better than some. But I think we discussed it earlier that he's not had a great tournament, but as you just mentioned, he's just won the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? And there is a place for Mount in the team. I just don't think in the final he should have been playing that position that he played. No.
And with Jack as well, like his best position now is down that left-hand side. I think pre-tournament, I would have said, he should be playing over Sterling because Sterling's not had a good season. Jack's flying high, he's confident.
That's one thing.
Fitness was a problem as well, I guess, for Jack.
Well, that's it, because to be fair, I said to a lot of my mates that maybe they're taking care of Jack's injury or nursing him through these games because we don't know how fit he is or anything. Yeah, so... and he eventually he was just seen as an impact sub, and I just think he's more than that. But because of Sterling having such a good tournament,
I think that threw things a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think anyone could have thought that he would have had. Even Southgate, I'm not convinced he would have thought he would have had the impact that he had.
He definitely wanted to start with him because obviously he's been great for England and he's been great for Southgate. Even though we all had questions, because I didn't think he should have been starting the tournament because of his club form and he wasn't playing regularly.
Yeah,
but he proved everybody wrong and he had a great tournament. So, and that probably was the worst thing for Jack, really.
Did we almost have too many good options? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Can you have too many good options in football? And the squad size of 26? Is that almost a disadvantage?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you?
Yeah, because even sub-wise, you're like thinking, well, he can bring on like 3 of how many subs now, do you know what I mean? And it's like,
Foden didn't even get on in the final, did he?
Foden's an amazing player. Well, I think he was injured for the final anyway, wasn't he?
Oh, was he out?
Yeah, but before the tournament started, you'd have said that he should be a starter.
Well, he started the first game, then completely drifted away.
Do you know what I mean? So it's just crazy, and it depends how players turn out and how they play during these tournaments, I suppose.
Yeah. Let's go back to the start of the tournament a little bit and just talk about Tyrone Mings a little bit, because he played the first 2 games. England didn't concede a goal. Again, I think there's probably questions when he was taken out, but I think overall you've got to look at it and say Maguire is the better defender, a phenomenal player. But Mings had a good impact, and he's come a long way, a massive way, hasn't he, since he came to Villa and now England, and he's just a great human being.
Well, this is the thing, that once you start getting involved with England and playing with better players, it raises your level. And it wouldn't surprise me now if you see Jack come back and you see Tyrone come back, and they're just levels above what they were before.
The finalists now, Euros finalists, the biggest stage.
Training with these guys and talking with these guys for how many weeks, it all raised the level, and experience-wise, their level will go up again. So it's always a good thing. But I just have to worry about especially Jack, talking with all these guys and talking about what they're doing at the clubs and being tapped up about what's going to happen afterwards. Do you know what I mean?
Did that used to happen when you played? Like if some Villa players would have gone off to England when you were there, was that something you used to worry about when you were at Villa?
When these guys are spending so much time with each other, what do they talk about?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And who was Jack rooming with? Probably Ben Chilwell, who's at Chelsea. He's just won the Champions League. He's talking about all of his experiences winning that, and Jack will want some of that. He'll definitely want some of that.
Do you think if he'd have been playing, Jack, for, let's say he was at Man City 12 months ago or Man U 12 months ago, and he's coming into that tournament playing for them, he'd played in the Champions League, do you think he's got more chance of starting for England in those games if he's been doing that?
I wouldn't say he'd have more chance, no. You never know, he might not have been playing every week. He's competing with some good players there, so I don't know. Sometimes it's better to be the standout man at your club and the main man instead of a bit part.
Yeah.
So, it's a difficult question, really, but I'm not sure. Don't know.
Yeah, let's not get drawn into Jack Grealish and transfers. That's not what it's about today. It's about talking about football nearly coming home. Penalties, then. Let's talk about the penalties, because is it unusual for a manager to choose an order? Because I've just said let's not talk about him, but Jack's obviously come out and said, I volunteered. I said I'd take a penalty. He wasn't chosen in that first 5. Is it usually a case you'd have been involved in penalty shoutouts at Villa? Do you put your hand up and say you want to take it? To me, it seems
for sure.
It seems weird that the manager's just gone round and said, "You're taking number 1. You're taking number 2."
I think he's protecting the players here.
You don't think that happened?
No.
Don't you?
They'll definitely have practiced them in training. He'll have seen who the best ones are. Obviously, these guys who took them were the best ones in training. Or you will have had some who didn't want to take some, but he's protecting them as well.
Yeah.
So, because he's not going to come out and say, well, Sterling didn't want to take one or such and such, because they'll get vilified. So, there'll definitely be a bunch of players who said they wanted to take them and that have practiced them in training, and he'd have trusted those lads. Or he wouldn't have bought Rashford on, he wouldn't have bought Sancho.
Rashford is a penalty taker.
Yeah.
100%.
And they'd have said that they wanted to take penalties. That would have been part of the plan. I don't think for 1 minute that they didn't have a plan for penalties and who was going to take them. The only question mark is that, having to bring 2 players on in injury at the end of the game to take them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they barely I don't even know if they actually touched the ball, Sancho and Rashford.
I think Rashford might have touched it right, because he was playing right back for about a minute, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
which he had to, because of the
all over the place,
substitutions
wasn't
they
he?
made.
Also, my question would be, should a 19-year-old be taking the 5th penalty? Because that's there's a good chance of that being the pressure one.
The biggest thing was the order for me, because I'd have probably had maybe Rashford taking the last one, if anything.
Yeah. Look at Italy. Jorginho was taking their last penalty, and he's an established pen taker.
It depends. You can go the other way, like we did. Kane take the first one.
Kane first, sometimes second.
You could have probably said he should have taken the last one, really, because he's the penalty taker. So it's horses for everybody's different. I heard Mourinho talking on the radio the other day, and he said he had a penalty shootout in the semi-finals of the Champions League, and he said he's not got a great record in penalty shootouts. And he said the three people missed penalties: Ronaldo, Ramos, and Kaká.
Not bad players.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just proves that anybody can miss a penalty. Even the best players miss a penalty.
Did you ever take one in a shootout?
Not in a shootout, no. I've never had that experience, thank God. But
would you? I mean,
I'd have taken one. Yeah.
You'd have said, "All right,
yeah,
I'll take one."
Yeah,
100%.
I'd have taken one. The only shootout I was involved in was the one,
the West Ham,
the Bolton one.
Oh,
at Wembley, because I come off injured after 20 minutes.
Wasn't there was one? I remember there being one against West Ham, and then Southgate missed, and then we had to replay the game because they fielded an ineligible player, so it didn't count for anything in the end. I can't remember if you were on the pitch at that point.
I can't remember.
No.
can't remember.
We've been through some of your memories of games before.
Yeah, we did. It's not about me today.
Bit
it's not
patchy.
about me.
Bit patchy at times. But yeah, I just can't get my head round the 19-year-old taking the. He's an exceptional player. I'm not knocking him at all. I mean, what I also can't get my head round is the reaction to it as well. Let's talk a bit about it. I don't really want to talk about it, but I kind of feel like we have to.
Yeah.
Southgate's done a great job of bringing the whole country together. Let's face it, I don't want to get too political, but people in charge of this country are an absolute disgrace, an absolute shambles. Southgate leads with utter class.
Yeah.
He's a very, very good person. He's got good values. And the lads underneath him, the England players, I feel the same about them. It's a very likeable squad. Yeah. But the whole country comes together. It's all about the country being one. Football's coming home. We love you. We support you. Unless you miss a penalty,
until you lose.
And then when you do that, we're going to start giving you all kinds of unacceptable, abhorrent abuse that should have been. I mean, it should never have been here in the first place, but it should have been got rid of a number of years ago. How do you feel about that?
I just think it's a bunch of illiterate idiots who think that the only way that they can get to somebody is talking about or giving somebody abuse about the colour of their skin. And if you can't abuse somebody, not that you should be abusing somebody anyway, if you can't have a go at anybody without talking about the colour of their skin, because I know for a fact that these lads, I was like it myself, if you call me something, I don't know, call me whatever, but it doesn't, I can bat it off, I can ignore it, but when it comes to the colour of your skin or do you know what I mean? It's a totally different thing. And you can only understand that if you are a person of colour. And it does my head in when, you got people talking about it who actually don't know what it's like or don't know how it feels. So, and he's 19 years old, for God's sake. He's a kid, and he's getting this abuse off people, not just him, but there's been other players as well, obviously. And you just think, it's a game of football. We've lost by the barest of margins, and this is a young team, which we know or we think there's more to come from.
Yeah.
And we've not got near winning anything for how long. And I don't know, for some reason in this country, we think we've got a divine right to win stuff.
Yeah, we've been miles off it.
Yeah, when we've been miles off it, we won the World Cup once. Do you know what I mean? In the whole history of football. And we think we should be winning stuff just like that. And I can't get my head around that. When you've got other countries who have won it multiple times, who probably do think they've got, or have probably got more right to win stuff than we have. Italy being a case in point.
I mean, they were the best team, weren't they, for the whole tournament?
Italy being a case in point, who have got a history of winning stuff. So, I don't quite get it. I think the fact that we've probably got the best league in the world probably blurs people's judgment and thinks we should be doing more. But, even that's littered with foreign players as well. Yeah. So, you can't have it both ways. It's one of those, a lot of people, the best thing since sliced bread when we're winning, but when we lose, it's abuse. So I just put it down to people being thick half the time.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And there's also, aside from the racism, which is an absolute disgrace, there's people storming into the ground and stuff. And it's like, I did a podcast yesterday, and Flo on the Athletic podcast said, this is why as a country we're not allowed nice things. And it's true, because you've always got that element that will let you down, like storming into the ground and making sure you're in the game, being able to watch it. Like, it was so magical for so many people, like young kids having the Euros in this country and being able to be at Wembley. I've seen so many wholesome videos that have been great to watch, of young kids absolutely mesmerised by what's happening. Like Grealish giving the boots to the young kid in the crowd after the game yesterday, and you're like, these players have become heroes. Like, it'd be great to have a World Cup here. This is why, I mean, a lot of it's to do with money as well, but this is why the governing bodies prefer to give these tournaments to Qatar, to Saudi Arabia. We can't behave ourselves.
Yeah, because by right, we've got the infrastructure in our football is fantastic, and we should be hosting a tournament, no problem whatsoever. And you can't understand the reasons why we haven't up to now. But the scenes that we saw, I couldn't believe it. I seriously couldn't believe it.
It's just like a bad smell that's always hanging around with England.
Turn up and just think that they can just storm in. And,
I mean, they can. They did.
Well, I know, but I don't get it. I just seriously don't get it. And even in this environment with the pandemic and everything, people travelling down and when there shouldn't be, and do you know what I mean? And getting involved in it all. And I know it's been a tough time and everything, but people just think they can just do it without having any recriminations. And I just think, what planet are some of these people on? And there's innocent people getting hurt, and like you say, kids getting involved. You know,
kids shouldn't have to watch stuff like that.
No, I know. And, you know, I'm sitting there watching stuff with my kids, and they're asking me questions about not just, you know, people storming the gates and everything, but about racism and everything. I'm having to have that same conversation that I've been
must be
having
horrible.
a year ago or a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. You know, why do people do this kind of thing? And you can't answer.
No.
You can't answer those questions. It's really, really hard. And you know, they're learning stuff or seeing stuff that they shouldn't need to be seeing, and I shouldn't have to be explaining stuff to them.
It's just like I'm not saying I'm perfect in any stretch of the imagination, but you know, I'm not a scumbag in ways like that. But it's just stuff I just can't get my head around it. Like spoke to you loads of times. Obviously, you know, when I was a kid, you were my favourite Villa player. Like, you were my hero. I used to get you on the back of my shirt.
No.
I'm trying to be serious here. You used to get you on the back of my shirt and stuff. But not once did your skin colour or anything could come into my thinking of doing that. It didn't even cross my mind. To me, you were just Ian Taylor, who supports Villa, plays for Villa, loves the same club as me, like living the dream. And football's about stuff like that for me. Those moments and having the heroes, and your kids should be watching England games and creating positive memories, looking at how good that England team and looking at what Southgate's done in bringing the country together and bringing that team together. They should be looking at that, and it'd be something that's really memorable. But there's always these people that turn this stuff into negative, and you're having to answer questions that you shouldn't have to deal with. And I don't get it. I don't understand why people are like this.
Well, I don't myself, and you know, I get emotional talking about it, and you know, especially like I say, when my kids are watching that kind of stuff and seeing all the stuff on social media and whatnot, it's just crap. And you know, I'll take my hat off to people like Tyrone Mings and what he's coming out and saying, and you know, and like I say, these guys are role models and they've got a voice. So I want them to continue using the voices until this kind of thing stops.
Yeah, because your lads are. One of your lads, did he play for Villa or he'd been training with
Villa?
Yeah. So he obviously got desires to become a professional footballer. I mean, this podcast got miles away from what we were supposed to be talking about now, but I think it's obviously interesting and good to talk about these things and get the thoughts out there. But is it something that would make you worry if him becoming a professional footballer, if this stuff doesn't go?
Yeah, it doesn't. Right now, it doesn't worry me.
No.
Right now, I suppose if that day came and he did make it, then yeah, I'd start worrying about it. But I do think the way things are, you know, you never know whether he's going to make it or not. But I'll be honest, it's not something that I'll worry about right now.
No. You mentioned Mings, Rashford as well, who obviously is one of the people who's getting abused because he missed a bloody penalty. Yeah. I mean, anyone can miss a penalty, as we've seen. But he's done more for this country. He's done more for this country
6 months ago.
He's done more for this country through the pandemic than most of the people in power. Yeah. And he's having to deal with stuff like that because he's at the post from a penalty. I mean, he'll know himself. He'll be devastated that he's missed a penalty, but then to have that feeling of like, because missing a penalty and for England in any occasion is bad. Like when Gareth Southgate missed one in Euro '96, but you know, to miss one at Wembley in the final. When it's been such a good tournament, I must feel horrific on its own.
Can't get much worse, really, can it?
But then it does, because you're logging onto your social media after everything he's done as well. Yeah. You're getting people being dickheads on social media as well. What a world we live in.
Yeah, and somebody was saying the other day, it's not just about football, really, is it? Like you say, it's the world we live in at the moment.
Yeah. Do you think, because the England team has been such like a power for good, this England team is different, isn't it? For a long time now, I never really used to look forward to England games. You think back to when we get knocked out by Iceland and cobbling together a squad, and the years before that when it was just players who, it's a bit unkind, but kind of in it for themselves, not in it for playing for the country. Southgate has changed what it means to play for England. He's changed the ethos. Because you played with him at Villa, I remember a story of when he joined Villa. Didn't he put up like a picture of Dennis Mortimer lifting the European Cup above his place in the change room to remind himself every day what a massive club this is. This is a guy that is, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he's a powerful person.
Gareth is such an intelligent guy. He's, for a footballer, as they always say, he's an intelligent guy. And he would have looked at every aspect of that England squad, not just on the pitch, but off it as well. And he's wanted to create that club feel and camaraderie between the lads. And I think he's achieved that because every single player has been involved, and he wants to keep every single player involved and make them feel like not just a team but a squad.
I think there's only 2 outfielders that didn't play. Oh, 3, because I don't think Ben White played. I think there's only 3 of them that didn't play. Cody White and
he came out straight after one of the games, didn't he? And said, it's not about the lads that play. He wants to thank the lads who haven't been playing as well. So he's made everybody in that squad feel important, and he's made everybody in that squad convey what it's like to play for England. Do you know what I mean? And he's wanted them to see how important it is to play for England and to play for the people of this country. You know what I mean? And this is how the people of this country repay some of those players.
It's not
Do you know what I mean?
It's not
So
good, is it?
I think it's shocking, really, when they've done everything they can to bring that trophy home for us, and the minute they don't, we just turn on them.
I know he was your captain, so I just want to try and get like a bit of a... You still know him now, so you'll still speak to him. I'd just get a bit of an insight into what he's like. Did you ever see him having this impact on a country when he became manager? Did you see him operating in the way he does?
Not at this level. You always thought that he might become a coach or manager, but not at this level.
No.
And to go on and do as well as he's done. A lot of people criticise his days at Middlesbrough and whatnot and management, but it's part of a learning curve, isn't it? It's part of how he's got to where he's got now. And
it's different as well, isn't it? Being a club manager and international
of course
manager.
it is. It's miles different.
International kind of suits him. I actually can't see that him going back to club. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't advise him to be honest.
He's a class international manager. I think international management suits him because of the man management aspect, whereas maybe club now won't suit him as much. But England has been perfect for him.
Yeah. And it's not something that's been built sort of in the last few months, is it? Gareth's been working towards this for a long time, and the FA and the way they wanted to build this team and this squad, it's been over a long time that they've worked on putting this together, and it's finally coming together. And I think people have got to remember that this England team and squad, it's not the finished article, and we've got to a final, a European final, and they're not the finished article. They're still a young team, relatively inexperienced team at this level, and I just think there's more to come.
And that's definitely where this tournament will have done, because it's a young squad. Now, next World Cup, you think of some of the players even that weren't even in 26 as well, but having that experience now of the Euros in the World Cup, that's going to be beneficial, because people that weren't senior players in this Euros, because they've now got a whole tournament behind them of getting to the final, suddenly they've got that level of experience. So the next group of players that come through, and the squad might be quite similar. It's not that far. Yeah. It's not that far away, is it? The World Cup. So those players have now got an extra layer of experience that will help the other younger players coming through. So maybe these young players that we've got now, I've got Henderson. He's probably the only one who I would say has got the top level experience, because he's won the Champions League, he's won the Premier League, he's in his 30s, I think, Jordan Henderson. It's a young squad, but the next batch coming through are going to benefit from these players having a whole tournament behind them now, aren't they?
Yeah. And that extra layer of mental toughness, I think, and I was one of the ones who questioned Henderson being in the squad.
Because of fitness.
But now I totally understand it.
Yeah.
Because he brought that mentality, and I see how important it was for him to be involved. I see how important it was for Harry Maguire to prove his fitness and get involved.
He was very good.
Do you know what I mean? So a lot of the things that were questioned before the tournament started, you can see now. You can see why they've done it, and that's why I think for Gareth, I think I've got nothing but good things to say about him, and like there's the odd question like we've spoken about earlier, but I think on the whole, I think he's been fantastic.
Did you drop him a text after the game?
Yeah, to be fair, I dropped him a few texts during the tournament. When you think, oh, he's too busy, he's not going to text me back, and every single time he's text back, and it's just purely well done, mate. Well done for getting to the next round. Well done for getting to semis. Well done for getting to the final and stuff. And he's like, yeah, thanks, mate. But it's not over yet. And he was always thinking about, he definitely wanted to win it. He wanted to win it because I think he thought they were capable of it, and we just failed at the final hurdle.
I wanted him to do it for him as well because of Euro 96, because you can tell when he speaks of it that it just still haunts him, I think. You can tell that will never leave him, but I do feel if he'd won the Euros at Wembley, I do feel like he might have forgiven himself.
Yeah. I think you're definitely right. Things like that live with you forever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never taken a penalty at that level, but even I took penalties at Derby, and I missed one in the Derby against Forest, and that still lives with me now.
Really?
Do you know what I mean? And that wasn't at that level. So and people being people, they always pick that out.
That's what you get remembered for.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than the good things that you've done, people will mention that. So, I bet, up to now, Gareth, every single time people are seeing it, it's like, oh, yeah, that penalty in 96, and he's probably fed up of hearing about it. So, yeah, he would have exercised that ghost for sure.
Before we finish on England, I know you went to a couple of games, so just let's end on a positive, because obviously we have spoke about some negatives in there as well. Just how good was it at those games? Because I've heard the other knockout games were brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It was just good to be back at games with a crowd, hearing the singing, the whole shebang, the build up to the game and all that kind of stuff, and just being with people at matches again. Do you know what I mean? And I think everybody just loved the fact that they were back at football matches again. Yeah, with an atmosphere, and it was good. It was good, and I just the fact that we did so well, in my eyes, made it even better.
Yeah, some good days out. Looked lively.
Yeah, and the good thing from the player point of view is that a lot of the players. Reputations got enhanced as well, because we get blinkered, and you get blinkered into looking at your own players. You know what I mean? And you had plenty of time now to see what other players in the squad can do. And I just thought, players like Phillips were fantastic.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
You know what I mean? And when you don't see him every week.
Yeah, because it's a bit. Yeah, you're right.
And now you could see for a length of time how good he is, because you only had the word of Leeds fans and whatnot of how good he is, and their reputations just get boosted through a tournament like this.
Yeah, I think it's been a great tournament for England, whatever way you look at it. I know ultimately we fell short, and it kind of feels like England have lost in like a vintage England way, but that isn't what this England team is. But they have lost in that way, but. Everything has changed for England as a country. We're light years ahead of where we were.
But if we'd have lost to a lesser team than Italy, I'd have probably felt a bit worse about it. But I think you can't underestimate how good Italy are.
No. So you'd say ultimately best team won?
Yeah. I said it the other day. That I thought they were slightly better than us. And it's no disgrace to lose to them. 30 odd games unbeaten. Can't argue with that, really.
No. Cool. Should have a little break. Got a bit heavy. I didn't. Wasn't intending to. So we talked about England then, Tails. Let's talk about the tournament as a whole. There's a few worries going into the tournament because it had been 2 seasons pretty much back to back. COVID was obviously hanging over it a little bit as well. There's a bit of worries about the quality of the tournament. But I thought it was actually excellent throughout.
I thought it was fantastic. I think some really good sides. A lot of the players that we thought might step up and do well did. And, Ronaldo still sort of beggars belief, really, doesn't he? How he can still be scoring at his age and do
a lot of penalties, I will say.
Yeah, no, but you've got to put them in them.
It's true. It's true.
Hey, so, it just makes me laugh how people say, well, he scored a lot of penalties, but we've seen him miss, haven't we? So.
Yeah. No, but a lot of big teams fell away, didn't they, as well, in the last 16?
Well, that's what made it so good, I think, is that a lot of the fancied teams just never got it. They got it going to a point, but when it mattered, they just didn't have enough. That's another reason why we've done so well. I know we're in the other side of the draw, but some of the teams that went out, it's like some good teams there.
France went out to Switzerland. France, where everyone fancied France.
Yeah.
Looked at their squad, it was incredible. But, they're 3-1 up against Switzerland with 10 minutes left. It ends up 3-3 and they lose on penalties.
Yeah, that was the good thing about the tournament as well. A lot of the so-called underdogs
went for it.
Did well, went for it, and played against some of the big teams and came out on top.
Even Hungary in that group of death, I watched them a couple of times. They were good. They were very, very unlucky.
Yeah, and just missed out.
Yeah.
But, that group was unbelievable, wasn't it? I wouldn't have wanted to have been that side of the draw. But, I thought it was a really, really good tournament. Apart from it being in the different countries.
Did you not like that? You weren't having that?
Hated it. Baku, is that
Yeah,
in Europe? So and having to travel all that way, some of the teams, I think it's a slight disadvantage for those.
That was Wales' reason, because Wales did very well in their group stage, given the Joe. They did very, very well, but they did have to do a lot of travelling.
Yeah.
That would have taken it out of them, wouldn't it? And it's a bit of an unfair advantage.
Of course,
advantage for teams like England, like Italy, who played more games at home, and they were the teams that ultimately made the final, weren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah. Does that stuff does it affect it? You used to you would have gone to Bucharest to play in the UEFA Cup, and then you'd have had a game on the Saturday or the Sunday for Villa when you were
travelling does get you a little bit. Yeah. But it's definitely a massive advantage playing more of our games at home.
Who else did you like then? We've obviously covered England and Italy. What other teams did you like?
Wow.
Thrown you there, haven't I? You weren't expecting that question.
I did like Spain up until a point because they just kept the ball for fun. And I felt sorry for Morata.
God.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting your team back into the game in that game against France and then missing the penalty.
His tournament was an emotional rollercoaster, wasn't it, all round?
Because he was getting stick, wasn't he, anyway? And when he put that equaliser in, I did think, he's going to get the doubters off his back. But then he missed the penalty, and it was just one of those moments where you thought, oh my God.
You never fancied him. He missed one earlier on in the tournament, didn't he?
He just thought he was going to miss. There's just the walk up, and he didn't even look at the goal and look head down. His body language was just all over the place. But that game when France were 3-1 up,
I thought that was the best game.
That was the game when I was just off my seat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When Pogba stuck that one in the top corner, I was like, that's like a wow moment. And there was a few of those during the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, after they went 3-1 up and he stuck the ball in the top corner, he did some unbelievable time wasting as well with his celebration that went on for about 10 minutes. He's winding the clock down with his celebration. It still didn't work.
That's what you do, though. Yeah. It's like,
that dance went on forever.
That's what you do. Waste a bit of time, but there's some really, really good moments, and I thought it was a great tournament.
But Belgium, because they've obviously got this golden generation, and you think now, there's quite an ageing team at the back in particular, and they haven't come away with anything again. And Martinez actually gets. They love him there. But you know what? The last few years, maybe should have done more with the tools at his disposal.
With Martinez?
Yeah, maybe.
To be fair, they were like my favourites going into the competition.
They were ranked as the best team in the world.
Yeah, and I think the injuries didn't help them.
De Bruyne in it now.
De Bruyne and what's his name?
Hazard.
That affected them, I thought. But they probably should have done a lot better than what they did. But it just shows you tournament football. You just can't call it really.
Yeah.
Like I said, some of the lesser called nations, so-called nations, did really, really well. And a lot of it now is about being organised as a team and being hard to beat. And a lot of the teams were like that.
What did you make a player of the tournament, a young player of the tournament at the end of it then? So Donnarumma.
Yeah.
Got player of the tournament and Pedri, young player. You agree with both of
Yeah,
them?
Pedri
was brilliant.
Yeah. For his age, I thought, wow, he's a decent player.
In the semi-final, he had, going into extra time, 100% pass accuracy. I think he gave the ball away twice in extra time, so he ended on like 98 or 99%.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Bloody hell, so not give the ball away in 90 minutes against Italy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not... To be honest, I'm not a big fan of that stats like that.
No. They weren't around in your day, were they? Stats like that, they didn't do things like that.
Yeah, because I don't know what.
What do you reckon your pass percentage would have been?
Only passed it 5 yards, and that's the thing. You can if you're just passing it 5 yards every game.
Probably had a good one because you were just like, here you go, Merson.
Yeah, give it to the good players.
Off you go.
Just give it to the good players and get in the box.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan of those stats because if you're a creative midfield player and you're trying to make things happen all the time,
you're going to give the ball away.
You're going to give the ball away.
Yeah.
So but yeah, he was one of the shining lights. Yeah.
Donnarumma player. I've called him about 7 different names now already, but I'm not sure I'm having him as player.
I'm not so sure either.
It's basically just you saved a few penalties in the final. It's kind of like man of the match, and then we'll give him the player of the tournament then.
Yeah, I know. I'm not so sure
for
about
the last game.
Yeah, not sure about that one.
Now, who would you give it to?
The player of the tournament.
Just checking who's in my team.
Oh wow!
I've got mine.
I didn't even think about the player of the tournament.
You've got your 11 in your little notepad there. You pick someone on there, surely. Shall I say mine?
Go on.
I'll say Jorginho, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I would have said it was one of the... Bonucci, maybe.
Played every game, I think Bonucci, didn't he?
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier before we came on about those two central defenders for Italy and everybody writing them off and everybody saying how slow they are and everybody saying they're over the hill and yet they've gone on and won it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody saying they've got weaknesses. I didn't see any.
You don't always know pace. If you switch on a pair, you don't always know the pace. You put
Reading
yourself in the right
game.
place as a defender.
Yeah.
John Terry was never massively quick.
Yeah.
He's always in the right place.
And just played with their experience and know-how, and just wanted to die for the team and win that trophy.
Best national anthem as well.
Yeah, it was no, we've got the best.
No, we haven't. Italy's national anthem is top draw. And the passion and the way they sing is absolutely incredible. No wonder they're so fired up when the game starts, the way they sing the national anthem.
They're a passionate nation, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think them two for me were brilliant.
France, the biggest disappointment of the tournament, would you say, overall? I suppose Germany would be relatively disappointed as well.
I expected a bit more from Holland. To be fair,
Did you?
yeah.
I'm not sure about them. I was very up and down.
Yeah, but I did expect a bit more from them. But that side of the draw was just horrendous anyway, wasn't it?
They got a man sent off, didn't they, in their game as well?
Yeah,
The game completely switched when Dillick got sent off.
Yeah. So you're always up against it with that side of the draw. Any team that got out of that side of the draw was going to be a damn good team.
Yeah.
So you're always up against it.
Yeah. Let's do our teams then. We've both picked a team of the tournament. You've been taking it very seriously. You bought a notepad to something which is unheard of for you.
Memory's terrible.
I have never seen you turn into any kind of media work with a notepad.
What prepared you, mate?
Notepad and glasses. It was like the double whammy.
What glasses?
He doesn't like his glasses. Let's go then. Let's go with your goalkeeper.
Do you know, I've gone. I know.
Should we say that we're only going for people that made it past the quarterfinals and passed? So,
because I had a toss-up between... Because Donnarumma, everybody's going to go for him. But I've gone for Schmeichel.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Because he made some unbelievable saves, definitely in our game.
Yeah, the one you were at.
Yeah.
He's a great goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I just think he's a top keeper, top lad as well.
You said when he was a kid, he used to come to Bodymore and he used to go. Used to go and go out when he was about like 10 or 11. He used to fight.
I can't remember. I've showed me age then.
Yeah,
but Peter Schmeichel when I played with him, used to bring him to training, and
that's brilliant. Nice.
Used to go in the nets, and we used to have shots at him.
Was he decent then?
Yeah.
Was
and to be fair, he plays for Leicester now, but he always said he wanted to play for Man United.
Yeah. When
he was a kid, so it would be no surprise if he did end up there at some point.
He's a great career, you know, considering like the pressure he must be under being called Schmeichel. Like he's made a name for himself as a top keeper in his own right, winning the Premier League with Leicester, Euro semis with Denmark. So we haven't spoken about Denmark, you know, considering what they went through.
Yeah,
brilliant tournament,
fantastic, and you know, hoping that he pulls through and everything. But it kind of added to the tournament as well, if you know what I mean.
Got them
fired.
They lost the first game, and then to Finland, which is not a surprise after what happened. But you know, they only qualified in third. They really rejuvenated themselves after that and got themselves fired up and got themselves through. And we're doing it for him, but
which made it an even harder game for us to get by.
He's their best player, so they've also had to take out the best player. They went to 3 at the back, something they'd not really done before, I don't think. And rejig completed them. You know, their manager deserves a lot of credit as well. He seems a bit in the Southgate mould, actually.
Yeah.
They had a great tournament.
Yeah, they did have a good tournament.
Yeah. I've gone for the Swiss goalkeeper, Jan Sommer. Okay. I just thought...
He's got nice hair.
He's got nice hair. He has got nice hair. But I just thought every game that they played in, he made saves, good saves. He's just a good distributor. I just thought he's a really good goalkeeper. Obviously, he plays in Germany. He plays for Mönchengladbach. He's a good goalkeeper. But they... did better. No one expected anything from Swiss.
No. Yeah,
knocked out France.
Yeah.
I thought he was a big part of them getting to the quarter, so I picked him. I didn't want to be obvious and go for Pickford or Donnarumma either. So yeah, I've gone for him. But but fair shot. I'm sure because a very fair shot. He'd have been my next pick actually. Pickford could have got an error and conceded 2 goals, but
he just had a few erratic moments.
In that semi he did. That was his one game, wasn't it? I expected him to be like that the whole tournament, and he wasn't.
Yeah. But he did better than a lot of people thought he would.
Yeah, fair play to him. Who's your right back?
I've gone for Kyle Walker.
Recovery pace.
Yeah, and there were moments in games where, you know, dangerous crosses were coming in and he'd just nod it back to the keeper or chest it back to the keeper, and nothing fazed him. His experience showed in this tournament, which I thought was really, really good. I mean, he didn't... you know, we didn't see him flying forward as much as
very defensive, wasn't he?
Usually do, but I thought he was great. He didn't put a foot wrong. I thought he was fantastic.
I've gone for experience as well. Gone for Azpilicueta. He wasn't in the Spain team.
He was, you know, I was thinking about him as well.
He wasn't in the team, was he, at the start of the tournament? And they looked a bit all over the place defensively. And I mean, to be fair, they were never great defensively through the whole tournament. But he came in and he just solidified them a little bit. Yeah. Bit of experience. And I think he's a very good player, Azpilicueta.
Underrated. He's been Premier League for a long time.
Yeah, so I went for him. I thought he was a decent shot. Who's your left back?
Luke Shaw.
Did he?
Yeah, Luke Shaw, fantastic all tournament. I think he's one of those who came into the tournament with people thinking, you know, Chilwell's going to play.
I thought that.
I thought he's been great.
Yeah,
and sort of topped it off in the final with his goal and got forward. I think he get an assist as well.
Got a couple of assists, I think.
Yeah. So no, I thought he did really, really well, and from where he's been, and you know, not getting into the United team and all the stuff with Mourinho, I think to come back from all that and to be the player he was, his tournament was brilliant.
Yeah, I do think that's fair. I haven't picked him, but I do think that's fair. I picked Spinazzola. But obviously picked up a really bad injury, which meant he missed the last.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pick him.
But he was before that. Because he's right-footed as well. I just thought his energy was just a massive part of how Italy played. And Italy's tempo throughout the tournament was unbelievable, really. Like I don't know how they had the energy still going in the final. But
and again, for them to go on and win it without him as well.
He was a massive part of how good they were, I thought, up until the quarter-final. So I just went for him because I thought he was brilliant. Who's your centre-back pairing?
I've gone for the 2 Italians, mate, Chiellini and Bonucci. For the reasons what I said before, really, is that everybody had written them off. I was tempted to put Maguire in there as well, because I think after being out for so long and then coming into it, which is it's not an easy thing to do.
And breaking the camera with a penalty.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Amazing penalty. Or Stuart Pearce.
Better sent in the bill as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought he did really, really well. But I just thought those two, with everybody writing them off and performing the way that they did, I thought I'd put both of them in, really.
Yeah, I wanted Chiellini. I like the fact that he's left-footed as well. So maybe you got left footer on the left.
Plus added to that with Mancini, with them being centre backs who've probably not played out from the back earlier on in their careers.
They're comfortable doing it.
Comfortable doing it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And didn't faze them at all. And I thought they were brilliant playing out from the back. Some of the play out from the back against us, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah. Chiellini's a joke in particular. He's 37.
Exactly, and they're playing the way they were, and playing a few days later in big games, and then still having the physicality to do it.
Yeah,
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often nowadays that players that are playing that are older than me. So Chiellini at 37, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I've got Chiellini and Stones as mine.
Okay,
Stones played every minute, didn't he, for England? They kept a lot of clean sheets.
He probably went under the radar.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. Didn't notice him.
Yeah.
He's got a mistake in him. I often think he'll do something stupid.
And no mistakes whatsoever,
he just flew under. Even when he was next to Mings, I thought he's made a lot of blocks in that Scotland game, for example, and kept hold of the clean sheet. I really thought he had an impressive tournament, John Stones. Yeah, I've gone for Stones.
He's another one that, like I said earlier about the tournament raising their profile.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll be an even better player.
Good season as well from nowhere for Man City as well. Yeah, he's done really well, Stones. I wouldn't have, again, a bit like Pickford, I didn't really fancy him before the tournament, but he surprised me, did really well. Who is your midfield three?
Oh, see, this is where I was struggling because I couldn't fit everybody in. But I've definitely gone for Jorginho.
Same, he's at the base of mine.
Yeah. Everybody be calling him dirty and whatever for his tackle and everything. But I just thought when Italy went a goal down, he was the main person that sort of dragged them back into it. Didn't faze him at all. Kept wanting the ball. Tried to get the team going. And everything just went through him, and his penalty in the semi was just like flipping heck. Talk about pressure, and then just stroking it into the corner, and still doing his hop and a jump. It's just unreal. Again, I was off my seat, and I was like, last penalty in a semi-final, you're doing that. It's just unreal.
I talked to my mates about this last night. I was saying, because I'd been watching some old Villa games, I was like, when you got a penalty, it was just one run-up. I don't know, there's all kinds of run-ups now. There's run-ups from everywhere. I don't know who invented that. There's like the stutter, the hop and the skip. There's like stuff coming from all over the place now. They just used to run up and blast it in the olden days when you played.
Yeah, run up and place it somewhere. But now they've got all kinds to try and dupe the keeper, haven't they? So, but yeah, I thought Jorginho was really, really good.
Yeah. Who's with him?
I've gone for Phillips as well. Because
so he's a massive surprise.
Again, reputation has gone through the roof off the back of this tournament.
Yeah.
And, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody came in for him.
Yeah, he's suddenly getting linked to like Man U now.
From Leeds, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just think for somebody so young and for it being his first proper tournament, I just thought he just grew and grew and grew.
He had a good first game, didn't he? I think it gave him a good platform. That first game gave him some confidence.
Yeah.
He got him going, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wouldn't. If Henderson had been fit, he probably wouldn't have played, would he? He would have been Henderson and Rice, I would have thought.
Yeah.
As well, so yeah, that's a fair shout. Yeah. Who's your other one?
I've gone for Pedri.
Yeah, I've got Pedri as well.
Again, for someone so young, I just never phased him this tournament, and he's played all season for Barcelona, and you don't do that unless you're a really good player at such a young age.
18.
Yeah, at such a young age, and like you say, his pass percentage was so high. Like you say, for someone so young, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
But he was my third midfield player.
But
there was a few others that I was thinking, can I get them in there? But I thought Dolberg from Denmark was good.
I nearly had Højbjerg in.
Did you?
I thought he got 3 assists, Højbjerg for Denmark through the tournament. He's a good player anyway.
He's a better player than what people give him credit for. I think.
Spurs, he's kind of got the one job, just protect
and destroy.
Yeah, but he's actually, he played for Bayern, so he's a decent player. He's a decent player. Don't play for Bayern unless you're a good player.
Yeah.
My only difference to you is I've got Verratti instead of Phillips because I just love Verratti.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I would say he's the one type of player England don't have, like a diminutive central midfielder that gets backwards and forwards, can work in tight spaces, uses the ball very well, drives the team forward. I would say that's probably the type of player England don't have. Yeah. Maybe Bellingham can be that player. He's a bit bigger frame and that, but we don't have him. I think he's, again, was a massive difference in the final between England didn't really have the ball in the second half and Italy's midfield, Verratti and Jorginho.
They ran it, didn't they?
They're going to get the ball, aren't they?
Yeah.
I haven't got many England players in my team, but my thinking behind that was because I think England were a great team. I don't think it was all about individuals, except for the man I've got in my front row on the left, Sterling, who I presume you've got as well.
Yeah.
He shone.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it was quite a cohesive unit. I don't think it was all about individual players. England,
and I think that's the way Gareth wanted it to be.
Yeah, that's you know what I mean? That's very him, isn't it? He used to win Clubman of the Year quite a lot of Villa, doesn't he? Did you ever get that one? No one wants that one.
I know.
He used to get it all the time.
That's why I started laughing.
He was captain. He used to get Clubman of the Year all the time. No one wants that.
That's because he was so good.
Yeah. They probably knew he wouldn't get offended, so they gave him that. And didn't want to, no one else wanted it, so they didn't want to upset anyone else. Yeah, you wouldn't have been happy with Clubman of the Year, would you? So you've got Sterling on the left.
Yeah.
Who's on the right?
Chiesa.
Same.
For Italy. I thought he was fantastic.
He's an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
Worked
Great
so
engine,
hard.
Yeah.
That goal he scored was lovely, the curler. Semis, I was against, was that quarters or semis? I can't remember. There's been so many games. So many games of football.
But yeah, I've got him in. Like you say, Sterling. And then there's one more.
I went for Schick.
Oh, did you?
For Czech Republic. He scored a couple of great goals.
Yeah.
He was not far off the Golden Boot. Again, Czech Republic got further than I think you would have expected him to get, and he was a big part of that with his goals. I just thought, for someone that overachieved, I would say he overachieved. Because I presumed he'd been banging him in Germany, but he really hasn't.
No, he hasn't, no.
Not at all.
No.
I thought he was like the main man he plays for Leverkusen, doesn't he? I thought he was the main man.
You always get someone like that that comes into tournaments who's not been great.
Milan Baros for Czech Republic and then Villa signed him.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah, he does really, really well.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Who's yours?
I've gone for Ronaldo.
Fair.
Because, again, like the two centre-backs, he's just keep going and going and going. I know you mentioned about him taking penalties and whatnot, but
it's tongue in cheek.
You've got to score him, haven't you? And he's just never stopped scoring.
It's like breaking records, breaks a new record every week.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable. And I don't think he's finished yet. Is he? He'll
be at the next World Cup because there's still records to be broken. There's still things he wants to achieve. And if Messi's still at the World Cup as well, there's absolutely no way Ronaldo's not going to be there.
We want them to be there though, don't we? Yeah. You know what I mean, you want to watch players like that. So I went for Ronaldo.
It's just. Whose team does it? Ask the Luke guys. Whose team are you having? Who do you think is better? I knew. You were going to say that. He's the more high-profile person here, so you were always going to say Tails.
There's a 20 in it for you, son.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, I suppose you've got Ronaldo. I suppose on paper yours would be the better team, but I think a bit more research has gone into mine. Personally.
It's all up there, mate.
Yeah,
it's all up there.
You are an ex-professional. You should be picking a better team than that. I think that does us. I've often wondered what it would be like if we lived together. I've thought about that quite a lot, and now I know. Spending the morning together, doing a show.
Get the kettle on.
Yeah, no, you don't want me making it. I don't drink tea or coffee, so you don't want me doing. But yeah, it's been nice to catch up with you because I haven't seen you for so long. It's been good to review the Euros with you. Yeah. Thank you for coming.
A nice morning. Thank you very much.
You.